Hello and welcome to the Random Wrestling Revue. It's our local to global series, and we are right in the middle of booking RWR Kings of Wrestling, our next show. In fact, we've completed the booking of it in the last episode, so we are ready to go straight into it. We're not going to be penalised due to the makeup of matches and angles on the show, and we've got no real problems here except for Glenn Ruth's injury, which we are continuing to make him work through. Poor lad, but there we go. So I think we just go straight into it today. I don't think we muck around. Let's see what takes place at Kings of Wrestling. In front of 296 people in the Marshall Center, we are 4 people off a complete sellout of this venue, and a proper sellout, not one where we had a free show where all 300 tickets were taken. This will be very close to the point where we have 300 paying customers coming in through the doors. And we start with this segment of Buddy Wayne where he comes out and tells everyone that he feels like he doesn't deserve his title shot despite being the number 1 contender. And I'll alert you to the rankings right now. Here he is. Buddy Wayne is going to defer this title shot. That's what that asterisk is about. He says he doesn't feel like he deserves the title shot despite being number 1 contender because he's lost his last 2 matches, and agrees with what Darren Drozdov said to him at the last event. So segment rating here of 37 as he defers his title shot, and that of course was the advertised title match as well for this show, CM Punk versus Buddy Wayne, and so it appears now we do not have a title shot for this event. The first match of the night saw Chris Harris and One Man Gang defeat the Headbangers in 12:28 when Chris Harris pinned Chaz Warrington. Harris was the head and shoulders above everyone else, 51 rating from him. One Man Gang did a 39, Glenn Ruth a 34, Chaz Warrington a 30. Glenn Ruth's injury took a toll, and One Man Gang was tiring toward the end. So this was all really on Chris Harris's shoulders, and they did a 46 rating, which is very, very good indeed. Harris and One Man Gang get the victory. Then we have Dave Bautista comes out in front of the crowd after his suspension now over. Of course, he's been off for a month, and he challenges Chris Harris to a rematch at the next show, which by the way, we're going to call Shockwave. And I've got to confess something. I went onto ChatGPT and asked it to give me a list of generic wrestling event names, because the ones that the game were coming up with were starting to be a little bit I think we've worn out all the even mildly acceptable ones, so I went on to ChatGPT to give me a load of new ones. So anyway, here Dave Bautista challenges Chris Harris to a match, and segment rating of 57, so a really decent segment, this one, with Bautista doing a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd. So Bautista continues to get better in his role as one of our lead babyfaces. Next, we had a decent match between Charlie Haas and TJ Wilson, a match that Haas won in 12:41 with a total hostility. Charlie Haas was a 46 here, TJ Wilson just a 29, as the story between these two wrestlers' tag teams continue. Red Alert and Calgary Connection for a segment rating of 40 in this one. So next up, we have got an angle featuring Bruce Hart. So this is where Bruce Hart comes out effectively and announces the replacement for Buddy Wayne in the main event tonight. So he says that as Buddy Wayne is not taking his title shot, he is deferring his title shot, which is in his gift to do. This, of course, as a precedent established by Bruce Hart himself when he did the deal with Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan and the rest of the Rebellion to defer their title shots. So he says now that means Mark Henry is the designated number 1 contender and will face CM Punk in tonight's main event. So segment rating here of 37 as Bruce Hart announces our new main event of the show. Then we have Darren Drozdov's next match in the company, a victory over Phantasma in 9:28. Drozdov won by pinfall using underhanded tactics. Phantasma was off his game, which meant he did an in-ring performance of 32. Drozdov at 22, which I think is just an extra point higher than he was in the last time we saw him. A segment rating here of 31, and Drozdov's growth might have been stunted by the fact that we had to have him lose, of course, to Chemo, to keep Chemo sweet, basically, because originally we did want Drozdov to win that match. After the contest, Darren Drozdov talks to the crowd through the microphone and says that Buddy Wayne is only deferring his title shot tonight because he's in such bad form that he knows he can't win the match, and he's hoping that if he defers a title shot long enough, he will get back into some form and be able to take on the champion in the future when things are looking better for him. So Drozdov basically disputing Buddy Wayne's claim that he feels that he doesn't deserve the title shot, and instead saying he doesn't want the title shot now because he knows he's in such bad form. The segment rating here of 37. Drozdov in a pretty good here in front of the crowd, just talking, and the feud between Wayne and Drozdov continues. So we've got our two big matches next up. The first of them is Ace Steel versus Billy Kidman, and what a match. A segment rating of 48. Kidman winning in 14-16 following interference from Rex King. So Rex King getting involved here on behalf of Billy Kidman and helping him win against Ace Steel. This was a match I was hoping to keep back. I've got to be perfectly honest. I was looking for a tag team match here, but of course we had the problem where some of our wrestlers were double booked for the evening, and that's something that we need to look out for in the future. But anyway, Kidman gets the victory here in a 48 rated contest. Both did mid 40s in terms of their in-ring performance, so a very pleasing performance from both. And then the main event, a 42 rated match. CM Punk and Mark Henry just do not click, and it showed in their performance. So this is easily the worst defense Punk has had of his 4 defenses of the Northwest title here against Mark Henry. He wins it in 14:52 by pinfall with a Pepsi plunge. And I guess unsurprising really that this was not as good as the previous match, but I was still hoping for a little bit more. Ultimately, they were knocked off course by the fact that they just don't click and they've got no chemistry. So Punk wins the match, defense number 4 of the title, but not the best main event to finish off Kings of Wrestling, which did an overall rating of 44 as a consequence of the main event not really hitting the heights we'd like it to. No problem though, of course, that still increases our popularity in the Northwest. And in general, a decent show, although no matches going over the 50 mark. The best angle of the night was Batista coming out and challenging Chris Harris, which would obviously have to give him some credit for, and Harris also deserves some credit, I think, given the way he performed in that tag team match. So they both get some praise, and I think actually I'm going to give Ace Steel some praise because he and Billy Kidman were very good in their match. And so that is Kings of Wrestling. It was not a name that I loved, to be honest, right from the start. And then we had some problems with wrestlers not being available. We are going to look ahead right now, actually, and try and head off at a pass any issues in the future. So November's next. Monday week 2 is fine there, and Monday week 4 is fine there. So November we should be okay to do the usual slots in the calendar that we want to do. Let's add our next event, which is going to be, as I said, Shockwave, which is a name, as I said, that I got from ChatGPT. I'm being as honest as I can. Confession time, I guess. But I'm just getting fed up of not being able to generate good names from the game. Or even passable names, really. And so I've decided we're turning to artificial intelligence to help us out on that one. ECW Call of the Wild took place on the same night, of course, which is why we were missing a number of our talents. And in the main event, Shane Douglas defeated New Jack and the Sandman to retain the ECW World title. Where are our guys that were not able to compete? So C.W. Anderson's here in the opener, winning a match against Doggo Rose of the Bad Crew. Did any of the others get even booked here? Who are the Urban Cowboys? So Chemo is one of the Urban Cowboys. So basically he missed our show just to do an interview segment. Lovely. And then we also lost some other people as well. I'm trying to find out whether Fishman can't be the guy, can he? No. Who else did we meet? I can't remember who else we had not in the show. Barry Buchanan, I don't think, was in the show, was he? And he missed our show for a pre-show match, which I think, did they win? I'm not sure. Homicide and the Punisher, yeah, I think they won, but still, pre-show match is why he missed our show. So I'm not loving that, but ultimately there's not a lot I can do about it. Our next event though will be Shockwave in 13 days. I'm just going to double check that availability because I am now really paranoid about that, having been so careful about it in the past. The one time I let my guard down and it happens. So a bit of a shame for the Northwest title because Punk was on such a run of great matches. In fact, the title was on a great run of great matches. That was the worst title match we've had since Chris Harris against C.W. Anderson back in February. But in general, there have been really, really good matches for that title as of late. So we're going to move on to our next, well, certainly to the end of the current month, because we want to see where we are financially. We have been finding that things are going very, very well for us. Obviously, crowds are increasing significantly. We just did 296 for that last event, which was the best paid for attendance we've ever had. And in addition to that, we're finding our sponsorship is going up. So and the wrestling industry is recovering after what hitting an absolute nadir, 2-3 months ago. All that is amounting to us making a heck of a lot more money, which means we are getting closer and closer and closer to being able to afford the production values that will get us television. And that is very much in my sights as we move forward with this save going forward. Now, Shockwave is going to be headlined by the match between Dave Bautista and Chris Harris, a grudge match between those two. We're also going to have the tag team titles on the line as Red Alert will face Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan. New friendship in the company. Barry Buchanan and Buddy Wayne getting on very well recently. They've both been in the company for a long time. And Steve Lombardi now could actually wrestle if we want him to. I don't think we do want him to, but he could do if we did. Ric Flair has been sidelined with an injury. He's going to be out for a few months. Is he not their champion? I thought he was champion in the company. Let's have a look at WCW, because I thought he was the champion in WCW. So let's have a look. It's currently Scott Hall is the champion, and they just had him lose. I figure he must have lost. He must have got injured in the match in which he lost the title. Yes, he did. Scott Hall defeated Ric Flair to become the world champion in a dog collar match. Scott Hall's probably their best bet as champion. This was a 73 rated match, better than it's been, because underneath them they've not got a whole lot of anything really to rely on. So Scott Hall's now champion. Ric Flair is injured. Things continue to struggle for WCW. Real problems for them as they continue to kind of get through this very lean period. Financially then, how are we doing? $10,000 in profit. Now this really opens up a decision point for me. I could be really conservative and wait for another month to see how much we make. But given how much we're already making, given the money we've got in the pot, given the fact that everything is trending upwards, sponsorship's gone up this month by 1,000, attendances are up, because of this thing. The wrestling world is still only 11 though, so still so much scope for increase. Given the increase we're already seeing, if that continues to go up, we're going to make more money exponentially. So I am very, very tempted to look at our production now and make some decisions about upgrading, because we have found out that we need our production values to be semi-pro, our broadcasting quality to be hired pro, and our music to be in-house. Each one of these cost money to do, but I think we're at the point where, so what we're going to do here, upgrading would involve a fee of $500, and once upgraded your cost will be $500 per month plus $150 per show. Now we can afford that right now, given that we made $10,000 in our last month. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to start upgrading some of our production values. If we can do this as well. So upgrading is free, but once upgraded your cost will be $2,500 per show. Now that would take a big old chunk of money out of us, but I'm tempted to do it anyway because I want to see if we can sustain one level up on all of these. And upgrading is free for our... Oh, that was a mistake. That last one was a mistake. We don't want to do that. We don't need that to be any better, the live event experience. That was a mistake on my part. Broadcast quality, we do need to upgrade. So $500 per show for that. Yes, that's fine. And music, upgrading is free, and then it costs $250 per show. I think all of those things are fine. It's the next lot of upgrades that are really going to be a problem. We've got no rivals, so that's not a problem. So yeah, we've upgraded everything now in our production values that we need, not the live attendance stuff, but that's fine. We don't need that to be anything more than what it is. But production, broadcasting, and music have all gone up, and we're going to kind of continue to pursue improvements in those and see how that affects us financially. Obviously, it's cost us $600 already, but that's not very much. It will cost us about $1,000, I think, from what I can remember, or a little bit more than $1,000, maybe $1,500 per show So that's going to be the real kicker, really. But if we can still make a really decent profit in November, despite having all those upgrades, we will look to upgrade other bits of our production values. One last thing before we move on to our next show. We have got that last event that we just had, Kings of Wrestling, was quite a long way down. Didn't do very well. 29th best show of all time. So we need to improve a little bit on that. But attendances, Kings of Wrestling was the second best attended show in our history, only behind Open Doors, which obviously was a free show. So wouldn't shock me if we need a new, bigger a venue than we've had. It also wouldn't shock me if Shockwave became the first proper sellout in company history. So we're going to move towards that now. If you're enjoying this series, please click on the subscribe button and join us along for the ride, which will continue. I think it's fair to say that every time, I'm still absolutely committed to this going for a long time yet. Whatever the case, it will definitely make 100 episodes. That is my next big milestone. That's the next thing I want to hit, is 100 episodes. So we're going towards that. So there's still plenty of time, and beyond that, I do think that the series will continue. Whatever the case, if you like this video, please give it a like, because that always helps and always keeps me motivated to just keep pushing on with this series. It's been, it's been superb. I've really, really enjoyed bringing it to you. As I said, we've got Batista versus Chris Harris at Shockwave. You've also got the tag team titles on the line, Red Alert versus Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan. That was going to be a more obvious match than it ended up being, because you'll remember I was going to book Ace Steel and Chemo against Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan at the last show, but both Chemo and Buchanan were not available to me. What's this? Chemo's fully fit. Good news. But Kidman and Buchanan had already won a couple of tag team matches, so they were already the presumptive number one contenders for that title, and so they will face Red Alert. We've got a Ace Steel versus Rex King match to come, and that reminds me, we are going to add we're going to do some stuff here. So we're going to add a new stable, and that is the New Rebellion. This will all be revealed in the next show, so it's not like I'm kind of doing anything that isn't about to be announced. Billy Kidman, Barry Buchanan, and Rex King are the new stable. And the Rebellion, we're going to remove Kidman and Barry Buchanan. That's down to just the two now in that stable. But that's going to be explained right now, because the first angle of the show is going to be Billy Kidman, along with Barry Buchanan and Rex King. Kidman announces formation of New Rebellion, and that Rex King is joining him and Buchanan. Made that 5 minutes. Billy Kidman announcing the formation of the New Rebellion, and that Rex King is joining him and Buchanan. That was why Rex King interfered the previous month, and why he will now face Ace Steel in a grudge match. Before that, though, we've got tag team action as Teddy Hart and TJ Wilson take on Chaz Warrington and Glenn Ruth, the Headbangers. Glenn Ruth still carrying that injury. I think we'll make this go 10 minutes. I'm still going to go all-out match. To hell with Glenn Ruth's injury, and we're going to give Teddy Hart the win in this one. So a victory for the Calgary Connection, who obviously are looking for the title. They want to go after Red Alert. They drew with Red Alert in a 20-minute time limit draw back at the luck of the draw, and they are now trying to pursue those titles again. Up next, we've got Buddy Wayne in a singles contest against Sean Stasiak. Now, this is another match where Buddy Wayne... This is another match which has completely not happened before. That's not the way I wanted to say that, but it's a first-time ever match between these two. These two obviously went and won the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza together. Did they? Did they do that? I believe they did. No, they didn't. No, I'm wrong. They didn't win it together. Who did Sean Stasiak win it with? I think it might have been Dave Batista. Buddy Wayne and Sean Stasiak entered the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza together back in 1998, a long time ago now in this game. And so, but they've never had a match against one another. They're going to have a first-time encounter at this one. We'll make this one 13 minutes and hope that by making it a storytelling match, Buddy Wayne will be able to get through it without too much problem. But Sean Stasiak is going to win. Now, this is going to be another situation where Buddy Wayne kind of was like, well, if I win this match, ultimately, will it tell me that I deserve the title shot, to take the title shot that is rightfully mine? But he doesn't. And during the match, Buddy Wayne is distracted by Darren Drozdov, which is why Stasiak is able to get the win. Now, this is also quite significant mistake because Stasiak is right up here on 8 points. And another win means he's going to be right close to the main event. And Mark Henry obviously is already down to 0, having lost to Punk in the last event. So it's Kidman and Stasiak who are now the big next challengers for CM Punk for the title. And Stasiak getting a win here means he's very, very close to taking that. We've got Ace Steel versus Rex King. So this is the sort of grudge match following what took place at the last event. We're going to have Ace Steel win this one by pinfall in a completely regular match. Rex King is unhappy. We'll keep him strong somehow. I don't really know why we need to. Rex King has been booked pretty poorly for a while, but yeah, am I definitely giving Ace Steel the win there? I think I am. Yeah, Ace Steel's going to get the win there. Then we have the tag team title match. It is Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson, Red Alert, defending against Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan. Okay, I've just had a sudden thought about this whole thing. I think we're going to crown new tag team champions. This is a completely new decision from me here. We're going to make this one go 14 minutes. Am I going to do this? I think I am. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to have them win. I was not going to do this. I was going to have Red Alert successfully defend this title here, but I've had something on my mind to do with this title, and in particular a match in a future show that I didn't know how to get to, and suddenly it hit me when I just got to this match. So we're going to have a victory for Kidman and Buchanan in this one. I think we will have interference by Rex King. Interference from Rex King, but we're also going to have interference from Chemo and from Ace Steel. And the end is going to be a distraction finish with Anderson being distracted by Rex King ultimately. But the idea being here that ultimately Rex King comes out to get involved, Chemo and Ace Steel try to stop him, and then that kind of all causes a big distraction, which ultimately leads to Billy Kidman pinning C.W. Anderson and us having new tag team champions. Unexpected new tag team champions. Not at all what I was expecting going into this match, but a brainwave came over me, and that is what we're going to do. We're going to have Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan win the tag team champions at this event. Then we're going to have the main event, which is, of course, Chris Harris and Dave Batista. Let's make this one go 15 minutes. We'll do a slow build for this one, though. The winner is going to be Chris Harris, and this one is going to be another one that has outside interference. But on this occasion, it's Dave Batista and Bruce Hart who interferes against Batista to allow Chris Harris to get the victory in the main event. Just looking at the booking analysis, it is fine. No problem there. We're not going to be penalised. So this is Shockwave. New tag champs, Chris Harris gets the victory over Dave Batista in their big grudge match. Let's do the show. Am I gonna change my mind before we go into the show? I don't think I am. I'm just gonna check that we haven't got anything else we want to do on this event. No, we don't. So here goes the Shockwave event. So we got our sellout as hoped for, as expected, really, at this point. The complete sellout of the Marshall Center. 300 people have packed in, and they start with Kidman announcing the formation of the new rebellion and that Rex King is joining him and Buchanan in that group for a segment rating of 38. Kidman's gimmick is getting stale, so we just need to make a note to change that. A segment rating here of 38, not amazing, but Kidman obviously kind of setting up this new faction with Buchanan, and they've got Rex King to join them. Then we have the tag team match, which sees Calgary Connection defeat the Headbangers in 9:54 when Teddy Hart pins Chaz Warrington with a Heart Attack 2.0. Teddy Hart very much carried this match, a 45 rating from him. Both the Headbangers 33 and 29, which is pretty consistent with where they are, and obviously Glenn Ruth continues to work through his injury, which is taking a toll on all of his matches. And TJ Wilson just a 29, not performing quite as quickly as we'd like, but a segment rating here of 40 is pretty good. Then we had Buddy Wayne versus Sean Stasiak, a really good 47 rated match here, with Stasiak coming out on top in 12:40 by pinfall after the distraction from Darren Drozdov. And you can see here Buddy Wayne and Sean Stasiak have great chemistry, and it showed in their performance. Ridiculous that this is the first time they should ever meet in a match. These are two of the longest serving wrestlers on the roster. Buddy Wayne, I think, has had 87 matches in the company prior to this one. Stasiak, meanwhile, had 76. So they are two of the most active wrestlers on the roster. They've both been around for years and years and years, never had a singles match against each other. Finally, they have one here, and it's really, really good. Stasiak winning the match. So then it's Ace Steel versus Rex King in a match that goes 12 minutes and 3 seconds with a segment rating of 42. Ace Steel gets the victory with an in-ring performance of 44. Rex King a 38, but this was a decent match. Although I didn't add Rex King to the story, which I should have done with the Rebellion versus the Rebellion. Then we have the tag team title match and a segment rating of 50, a really, really good match here. New tag team champions Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan win the belts from Red Alert in 13:49 when Billy Kidman pinned C.W. Anderson with a shooting star press following interference from Rex King. We're actually saying this was following distraction from Rex King because we also saw Chemo run in and Ace Steel run in. They came in to ward off the interference of Rex King, but in doing so distracted C.W. Anderson and handed victory to Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan, the new Northwest Tag Team Champions. Some really on the fly booking here, really, because I was not expecting to do this, but it gets us to where I want us to get next, which is the important thing, and we have new Tag Team Champions. And then the main event, a 52 rated match. I'm beginning to expect this really from Chris Harris. He wins against Batista in 15 minutes and 5 seconds by pinfall following the interference of Bruce Hart. Chris Harris did an in-ring performance of 51, Batista just a 40, but the segment rating of 52 is a very good main event. Two very good matches to finish this first proper sellout in the company's history. Very nice indeed. Overall rating 50. Great matches between Harris and Batista. The tag team match was really good. The Stasiak Buddy Wayne match was really good. In terms of our speech, I think Chris Harris should be praised for a great performance. I'm going to give Sean Stasiak a compliment on his performance. And in the tag team match, I don't really think... Actually, I'm going to give Teddy Hart a compliment as well, because everyone in the tag team match were good, and I didn't check their ratings, and also there was a lot of people involved in that one. So there we have it. Some news. Chris Harris, Darren Drozdov just doesn't get it, in my opinion. He could probably be cut loose. So this is the first time I think I've had, or one of the very first times I've ever had, any opinions from any member of the roster about any other member of the roster, and it's not a positive thing. Our size is still at 27, but let's have a look at our top 100 because things will have changed here. First of all, the Shockwave event was the 8th best in company history with that 50 rating. In terms of top 100 matches, you'll see in goes Chris Harris defeating Dave Batista in 14th place. And the tag team title match, Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan winning that, was the 27th best match of all time. And in terms of attendances, Shockwave is theoretically our best ever attendance because Open Doors was for free. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the the free show at New Year, because presumably we need a bigger room for that, because if we're able to sell 300 tickets, then we should be able to give away many more, you would hope. So anyway, financially, we're still making a profit despite the increased costs of production, and you can already see significantly higher for that event than it's ever been. But we're still still in the black, and I think we will continue to be that way going forward. So that gives us real food for thought. And on that note, I'm going to bring the episode to a close. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.